Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog and the Live with Emmy CFS blog. Typically on my channel, I do videos either about books or about chronic illness. This one is for everyone. I realized that although I've talked in other videos about my reading life, in things like BookTube Newbie and 20 Questions, and about my chronic illness life. I'll link to some of those videos below that get into detail about, our lives with chronic illness here. But I've never really told you about the rest of my life. And I was watching other people's videos and wondering just some basic things about them, and I thought it would be fun to do a tag, like a getting to know you tag. So I searched all over YouTube. I found a lot of videos labeled Get to Know Me tag, but they didn't actually tag anyone. They didn't tag back to an original video or list. And I was just kind of left. The two lists of questions I was able to find were clearly aimed at people much younger than me. They were questions like, what's your favorite subject in high school? Where are you attending college? Who's your favorite Disney princess? So I decided to start my own tag. And it's just a basic get to know you, here's who I am, this is me tag. And I just thought it would be fun. And I would love to know more about all of you who watch my videos and whose YouTube channels I watch. So with that as an introduction, I came up with my own list of 15 quick questions just to help people get to know me a little better. I called it the All About Me tag. So question 1, where are you from originally? Well, I grew up in Rochester, New York, which is Western New York, over near Buffalo, on Lake Ontario. So it's in the snow belt. It gets a lot of what we call lake effect snow. So I grew up with lots of snow and long winters. Most of my family is still in Rochester, so we go back to visit a few times a year. My husband is from the South. He's from Oklahoma. So, he thinks Rochester's like the North Pole. So he's not thrilled with the weather there, but we do go back to visit quite often. I'll show you a quick picture of, I was maybe like 11 or 12, and this was the famous blizzard of 77 in Rochester and Buffalo. The snow went up to the second story of our house. And although we didn't have school canceled a lot for snow there, they just got the plows out overnight and sent us to school the next morning. School was canceled for this one for several days. So my friend and I built tunnels in the backyard and like the best fort in the world. So here's a picture. So anyway, that's where I'm from. And question 2, where do you live now? We are now living in northern Delaware, a place where we moved to in 1990. And my husband and I said to each other, we'll stay here 2 years and then, we'll get another transfer and go somewhere else. We both worked for the same large company. And, here we are 32 years later. So it's grown on us. We like northern Delaware now. Question 3, what other places have you lived? This comes up in another question, but I went to college further north in New York State. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then after college, I got a job in southern Louisiana, just outside of New Orleans, at a DuPont plant. And so I moved in June one year from northern New York State, up near the Canadian border, all the way down to southern Louisiana. And that was serious weather shock for me. Especially that first summer, finding out that it didn't cool down below like 80 even in the middle of the night, and that the humidity stayed at 100% all the time. It was kind of crazy, but loved New Orleans. That's where my husband and I met. He was my mentor at work, and it's also where we met our closest friends who more than 30 years later are still our closest friends. And it's just an amazing place to live. The culture, the food, everything about it. So we do still feel like New Orleans is like a second hometown for us, even though we've been in Delaware for 32 years now. Okay. Question 4, do you have any siblings? I do. I have one sister who's 6 years younger than I am, and she's up in Connecticut. Question 5, who is in your immediate family now? Well, like I said, I'm married to my husband. We had 2 sons in the 90s, so they are both in their 20s now, which is just kind of mind-blowing. One just turned 24, and the other one is 27. And I've loved being a mother. We had a blast when the boys were little, in spite of a lot of challenges, as you know, if you've watched my chronic illness videos. We've always just had a blast, and it's wonderful now that they're adults too. One other person I would count as my immediate family is my father-in-law. He's 96. And when I reminded him of that today, he just said, holy mackerel. So unfortunately, he's got some dementia. He fell and broke his hip at Christmas time. So he is in a nursing home now for the first time. And he's had some real struggles there. Luckily, it's really close to us. But I'll show you a picture from Christmas 2019 of the 4 of us, plus my father-in-law when he was still in better shape. Question 6, I put this one in for other people, not for me. Do you have any pets? No, I don't. My kids have begged for a dog like their whole lives, but with chronic illness, both me and at one point both of my sons, it was just too much. We did have a string of hamsters, the best being the original, Teddy, who we all still love and cherish. But that's about it. Oh, we had a fish tank for a while too. My older son now lives with his girlfriend and they have a guinea pig. And I know my younger son wants to get a dog as soon as he has more than just an apartment. So question 7, where did you go to school? So like I said, I grew up in Rochester, New York. That's where I went to high school. For college, I went 3 hours further north, where it's 3 hours north of Syracuse, if you can picture that. So it's much closer to the Canadian border and Ottawa in Canada than it is to any U.S. city. It's a little town called Potsdam, New York, and I went to Clarkson University. At the time, it was primarily science and engineering, though they've expanded since then. And that brings us to question 8. If you went to college, what was your major or your degree in? I majored in chemical engineering. That's what I graduated with a degree in. And that's why it makes sense. That first job was with DuPont at one of their plants, working as a chemical engineer. Question 9, what kinds of jobs have you had previously and now? Okay, I'll start at the beginning. My very first job was bulk foods clerk at our local grocery store, which was called Star Market. Shout out to everyone from Rochester. And then for several years, I worked at the nearby airport for the food service there. So in the cafeteria, in the snack bar, in the nice sit-down restaurant. Do people remember when airports were like the fancy place to go out to eat? That's what we used to do that. Variety of jobs there. But after college, of course, I started working for DuPont as a chemical engineer. After a couple of years, I got really interested in the field of quality management, and I specialized in that, and I was doing consulting both for DuPont plants and locations and for outside companies as well, and training as well. And I loved that. I had really found my passion because I felt like I was really doing something beneficial and that added value to companies. That led to a further career in environmental management. It was the same kind of principles behind both. And again, it just fit with my value system. I felt like I was really making a difference. At one point, I left DuPont to work for a small consulting firm where I got to head up their environmental management group, which was really great. Loved that. But once we had 2 kids, it got to the point where we were both working full-time. We were both traveling a lot. I was traveling almost every week. And, we were kind of like passing in the airport. And things came to a head one night when he left for his trip. I was delayed and didn't get back in time to pick my son up from daycare. So luckily it was like this really sweet old couple that did daycare in their home. So they just kept him for a few extra hours. But, we just got to the point where we were like, this is too much. So I quit my job. The idea was I was going to take a year and a half off, just really focus on the kids. Let's see, they were like 2 and 5 at the time. So my oldest was just going to kindergarten, and I thought, this will be nice, just some relaxed time with them. We thought we had enough savings to last about a year and a half, and then I figured I'd start consulting again. That's when my chronic illness hit. About 2 years after I left my job. So I was not able to go back to that kind of work, not full-time anyway. I did a tiny bit of consulting after I got sick, but there wasn't a lot I could do. So my current career, which has been for the last 20-some years, and definitely since I got sick 20 years ago, is freelance writing. I write articles for magazines and websites, essays that appear in magazines or anthologies. I write my 2 blogs, of course, and back in 2020, I published my second book. I did write and publish a book while I was consulting about environmental management systems. But a couple of years ago, I published my second book, and I did this one on my own, independently, Finding a New Normal, Living Your Best Life with Chronic Illness. So I'm a writer. My energy and time are limited, but I do what I can, and I do enjoy it. Okay, have you traveled outside of your country, and where? Limited. Way back in high school when I was 16, I went with my French club on a trip to England and France. I have always wanted to get back to France and never have. I did get to make several other trips to England, mainly London, either for work or when my husband had a work trip over there. And I had one business trip to Geneva, Switzerland, which is a beautiful city. I really loved that. So I would love to see more of the world. Oh, and of course, I've been to Canada and Mexico. Canada because I grew up on the Canadian border. I've been there lots of times, especially Niagara Falls, Toronto, Ottawa. And Mexico, I got to go to Mexico City twice on business trips when I was consulting. So that was fun. But I would love to see more of the world. Again, energy is very limited, and so is money because of medical expenses. So those are our dreams for the future, I guess. Question number 11. How many U.S. states have you traveled to? Well, we haven't been out of the country much, but we have traveled extensively across the U.S. So when our boys were young, from the time they were I think our first big road trip was when they were 1.5 and 4. We, every summer, took a 3-week-long road trip across the U.S. So my husband's parents lived in Oklahoma, so very often we'd head out that way to visit them. And, when the kids got to that age, I just decided if we're going to spend all of our vacation time visiting family, we're going to combine it into, making it our vacation. So I started with this principle that getting there is going to be part of the fun. And so on the way to and from Oklahoma, we stopped at all kinds of places. We always brought our camper with us. We've got a pop-up camper. Went through all kinds of amazing places, state parks, national parks, took the kids to zoos and nature centers and all kinds of cool stuff, children's museums. My husband also has family in South Dakota in the Black Hills area, which is amazing. Just a gorgeous area. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. So we did the same there. Some summers we'd go out to South Dakota to see his family, but we had fun along the way. And, over the years, we saw so many places. So states that I've visited, all except 3. So between my work travels and all those vacations, road trips, the only 3 states I have not been to yet are Alaska, North Dakota. I know, all those times in South Dakota, we never went north, and Washington State. So those are all high on my list. In fact, anywhere is high on my list right now because we've been caring for my father-in-law for the last couple of years, and his dementia has worsened and haven't really been able to leave him alone for long. Even though he wasn't living here, we haven't been able to travel. So I know a lot of people haven't traveled because of the pandemic. For us, it was a different reason. But someday we want to get back to traveling. It's an important part of my life. What are your favorite places? This is question 12. What are your favorite places to visit or vacation? Oh, that is so hard to pick. We've got so many favorites. Like I said, South Dakota, Black Hills region is high on the list. It's an amazing area. Personally, I love Maine. So does the rest of my family. Especially love the Maine coast and Acadia National Park. We've spent some time in Baxter State Park in northern Maine, which is gorgeous. And of course, New Orleans holds a special place in our hearts. So even though we haven't lived there in a long time, we love to go back to visit. Not just New Orleans, but all of southern Louisiana. It's a great area. So lots of favorite places, but those are some of the top ones. Question 13, what do you do for fun? This is kind of a broad question, but obviously I talk a lot about books on this channel. So clearly reading is one of my top favorite pastimes. Besides that, though, as I said, love to travel when we can. Even when we can't go very far, we love camping. So we've still got that pop-up camper. We bought it when our youngest was a baby, so 24 years ago. Still love that. So, you know, even with not being able to leave my father-in-law for long, we still go locally to state parks that are like an hour away. And, you know, just love, love, love being outdoors. Nature, I find, is just so restorative. So it brings me so much joy. So I love everything outdoors. Really love hiking. I can't do much of it anymore because of my chronic illness, which limits how much activity I can do. But I have gotten to the point with treatments where I can take short hikes. So I do that whenever I'm able to. We love kayaking. It's a very easygoing activity. Doesn't raise my heart rate too much. I can manage that. Camping, like I said, just anything outdoors. Just love. Trying to think other things we do for fun. Every evening, my husband and I watch 2 TV shows together. By 7 in the evening, I'm kind of done for the day. With my chronic illness, my stamina's not great. So by 7 in the evening, I'm lying on the couch. But that's our together time, you know. We've got a whole bunch of shows that we watch together and enjoy. And, you know, we like that. Those are the main things, I think. Okay, question 14. Oh, this leads right in. What are some of your favorite TV shows? Oh, this is so hard to choose. We do, you know, watch a couple of shows every night. So over the years, we've seen so many. And my husband and I sometimes, it's like if we're camping or something or out to dinner, we'll try to do, you know, top 5 TV shows ever. And the list always goes on to like 10, 15. There's so much good stuff on TV right now. It's really hard to choose. But some of my favorites, and actually I went back a bit, so these aren't all new shows. Orphan Black, probably my best show of all time. Just blew me away. And same with my husband and my son. The 3 of us watched it together. And if you're not familiar with it, look for it. It's on streaming now. It's about clones. And there's one amazing actress who plays all the roles of all the different clones. And they each look, because they were each brought up separately, they each look, they're the same person, but they look very different. They talk differently. It's such a good show. So it's sci-fi, it's action, it's mystery, it's drama, and this is key for any TV show for me, it's got a great sense of humor. So Orphan Black. Another of my top shows of all time is Parenthood. I've always loved the movie, and when they made a TV show out of it, I was ecstatic. So this is one I watched on my own. Family drama, in my opinion, it's even better than This Is Us. Because while I often cried during an episode, I also almost always laughed out loud during an episode. It's just got an amazing cast. It's a great show. Parenthood, I'm sure that's also on streaming now. Going way back, ER, we watch a lot of medical shows. New Amsterdam, The Resident, Grey's Anatomy, of course. But, you know, ER was our first and still one of the best. Other shows, Treme was incredible. And of course, we used to live in New Orleans, so it had special meaning for us. We both just loved that show. The Wire was another top-notch show. One of my personal favorites was Glee, and that is still like my go-to feel-good. You know, if I'm having a bad day, I will watch clips from songs and dances from Glee on YouTube. That's my go-to happy place. I think the show that we're currently, we're watching a bunch of shows currently, but I think the one I'm enjoying the most is The Rookie. And again, because it's got that mix of action and mystery, it's a crime show, but it's also got a great sense of humor, and the cast is amazing. So those are the kind of shows I like. And finally, I added question 15 just for fun and to give you a chance to add in anything that I didn't cover. What is a random fun fact about you? So I've already told you a lot about me. I think a random fun fact is that I love to wear whimsical earrings and socks. Now today my earrings are kind of plain, and I can't really show you my socks from here, but like here are some of my socks. Pink pigs. The ones I'm wearing today are pink socks to match my shirt with little white sheep all over them, very much like these. Oh, and one black wolf on the side, which I think is hilarious. These, I love these from Maine. My son got those for me. Avocado socks. You have to have avocado socks. And of course, I have book socks for all those bookish occasions. Let's see. So some of my fun earrings, those are dolphins and alligators. Bought those at the New Orleans Zoo, by the way, the Audubon Zoo, which is highly recommended. Little fish. Got several pairs of fish earrings. Crabs. Let's see if you can see that. Crabs. And just so you don't think they're all animals, I've got pizza earrings that I wore on Super Bowl Sunday. And of course, red pepper earrings. I always wear these on Mardi Gras. So I've got a whole jewelry box full of inexpensive but fun whimsical earrings. I like bright colors and I like whimsy. So that's all about me. I would love to hear more about you. So since I'm starting this tag, and I've never done this before, but since I'm starting this tag, I'm going to tag 8 people, which is a lot. If you do the tag, just tag 2 or 3 if you want to. But I wanted to tag people both, some of my favorite blogs in both the book world and the chronic illness world. So book world first, I tag Beth Ann Bruninga Sokolar. Beth Ann, I'm sorry, I did watch your video on how to pronounce your name, and I still don't have it, I don't think. But Beth Ann, she's got a great channel, so check it out. Book Zealots, it's a woman and her son, and I love their videos. Check them out too. Red Dot Reads, that's Nikki, who lives in Singapore, and I always enjoy her videos. Mitzi Reads and Writes is a new discovery for me, but I am really loving her videos. Todd's BookTube, he's got great videos, and he's a loyal watcher and commenter on my channel, so I would love to learn more about your life, Todd. And Linda Book Lady, she was one of the first channels I followed when I joined YouTube, and really enjoy her videos as well. And again, she's mostly about books, although sometimes she covers a few other things. And then there's 2 chronic illness channels that I want to tag as well. Pippa Stacy, who does some great chronic illness videos, always entertaining as well as informative. And Chronically Jenny, who does these amazing weekly vlogs that inspired me to do my own A Day in the Life with Chronic Illness video. I'll link to that down below. So I hope that if you want to, those of you that I tagged will join in the fun, and anyone else too. I feel like we only talk about either books or chronic illness. So it'd be great to learn more about you.